When you think about sex tourism in the Gambia, let's be honest, we believe it's a white thing. And when we hear about it, we see YouTube documentaries and clips like this.
I believe the minister have to understand that his country is being labeled as a sex tourist destination.
It's going to be very difficult to take away sex tourism from a country that is mostly dependent on tourism.
Are you saying that foreigners and tourists are treated better than Gambians?
10 times more better. There's no
free.
argument about that.
Most of the Gambians are lame dogs.
The government, you all have a lot of work to do because you're not doing what you're supposed to do.
And it usually depicts older white men or women like this.
The Gambia has warned all British women to stop traveling to their country to pay young Gambian men for sex and love. Gambia is finally clamping down on British grannies flocking to their country, searching for toy boys, and is desperate for quality tourists to visit the country. The tiny West African nation has been a haven for older women seeking a lover or partner for many years. But the country is now sick of its reputation as a sex hotspot for mature women from Britain and Europe.
And black people all over the world are outraged about Europeans going to the Gambia and sleeping with impoverished youth, typically men or women in the country. But let's stop the show. We gotta be honest. There's also another form of sex tourism happening in the Gambia, but it goes widely unnoticed. And I'll tell you who it's between. Older black women from the Western world diaspora, most notably the United States or the UK, and younger, poorer Gambian men. Now, of course, we all know that it's been happening. Booty clapping sounds! Yes, and folks over there getting their cheeks clapped. And I really wouldn't talk about it because it wouldn't be a concern. But for the fact that we've had 6 ladies from the diaspora die in the last few months, now I feel like I need to talk about it because these relationships are not just, sexual or marriage based. They're becoming violent. And I believe it's because of cultural dynamics not understood by both parties. Rewind! Let's go back to Art Cathy. Art Cathy was a very controversial YouTuber who lived in the Gambia. She had to leave based on some unfortunate circumstances. But to many people, she's looked at now as being somewhat of a truth teller about what really happens in the Gambia. And she made a video really telling women from the diaspora, if you're gonna come to the Gambia, there are some expectations to be met. Now, she did give some good parts about if you're physically attracted to chocolate men, this is a place for you.
But let's start with the pros of the men in the Gambia. One of the pros that we have when, single women and just women in general, black women that love black men, African men, we look forward to coming to the continent of Africa to see all the beautiful, gorgeous, dark chocolate men. The Gambia has that for you and then some. They just have it. And that was one of the reasons why I knew I was going to enjoy that aspect of living here, living amongst so many beautiful, deeply melanated people. That's just the standard. That's the uniform here is dark chocolate skin. So if you like that, if you resonate with that king god-like look, this is definitely the place for you.
And then she also talked about this.
Sis, this was ironic. Y'all should go back to the video, would you date or marry a Gambian man? Go back to that video where I interviewed like the 22-year-old beach guy out there, and I saw the comments. Just look at those comments. Some of the sisters were saying, I could rock with it, I could work with him. I mean, y'all were giving him a lot of praise, and I'm not saying you shouldn't have or should have. I was just really impressed by how you guys were willing to give this brother a shot, and he showed you his living quarters. Like, he showed you that he was living and sleeping in a tent outside, cooking on the rocks in the wood. And I had a sister say, I can fix it up and make it nice. And I was like, wow. But let that have been a brother in the States. If a brother in the States ain't even got a car, the sister's not even checking for him, no education, what? Go ahead, tell me, because, I didn't want to just not mention that.
House where I live.
This where you bring the ladies? This where you bring your girlfriend?
Yeah, maybe girlfriend, yes.
Okay, ladies, he telling y'all where y'all gonna be hanging out.
African house.
African house.
Yeah.
So you take a lady back here on a date?
No lady on the date.
How do you take a lady on a date here? Where would you take her?
Like what?
Where would you take her? Where would you go?
No, just when I bring lady, you know, we can have a chatting, you know.
You can chat, okay.
Yeah, only that, you know.
You gonna chat in here? You gonna bring her back here and chat?
Yeah, chat, you know, sometimes.
Okay, I don't see nothing wrong with it. I'm just asking questions, you know, because the ladies want to know what they gonna look forward to, what they got to look forward to when they come out here now.
You know.
Now this is where y'all gonna be hanging out and stuff, honey. He gonna cook you some fish over there.
Yeah.
You see how?
Well, you normally cook, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. And this are flowers.
He said he got flowers for you. Flowers for you.
Now that part is interesting because she's talking about the fact that she did a video with a young man in the Gambia. It was called Would You Date a Gambian Man? And this particular young man was damn near homeless, but there were women in the comment section that really wanted the guy. Now she's saying the same thing that a lot of other brothers have been saying. If it's a black man in America and he don't really have anything and he don't have a job, he don't have a car, look, he's a scrub, you're not on my level. But when it came to this guy, you had women thirsting for him. And you might not believe it, but I actually have the comments. I'm gonna prove to you that you had sisters ready to deal with the guy in the situation that he was living in. Let's go to the computer and expose him. So you thirsty ass sisters didn't think I was gonna find these receipts. Oh yes. Let's look at this particular comment from boss LD _. Yeah, I got you. Thank you, music. He is so handsome with that beautiful chocolate skin, pretty smile, and the body and the way he walked almost took me out. I need to move to the Gambia.
Next.
And we have this is she fine too. I am marriage camp. See, I'm calling it out. Thank you, music. I need to be in Gambia ASAP. Another thirsty sister who is 44 Queen B. She goes, thank you, music. LOL. I'm going to the bush. He seems like a nice young man. Such a shame regarding his situation. Yeah, I bet he's a nice young man. I know what you're looking for. And here we got Peggy Stoutmorin 4529. Date music. He's in excellent physical shape. I'll feed him. I bet you will. So you see, you had women, adult women, ready to go to the Gambia and trick it off and get their cheeks clapped. Booty clapping sounds on that brother right there simply because they felt he looked good. Now again, physical attraction is everything. I get it. And you know, if a man can take care of you, that's also everything also. But here's something that ladies in the diaspora have to understand. If you are a black woman coming from America and you have been educated in the States, you have been educated in Britain, you've worked in corporate America, you've owned your own home, you're over 35, things like that, it's going to be hard for you to respect a man that don't have what he has. And remember, you don't have that same energy for men in America or Britain. And if you don't believe me, let's reiterate that fact with Search for Uhuru.
Don't go to the Gambia trying to get show how Stella got her groove back on. Again, don't go to the Gambia trying to get show how Stella got her groove back on. Or looking for love. Or I'm in the Gambia and I found this guy, he sows for weeds. Nah, because this is what you have to understand about Africa, okay? And in regards to Africa and your standards that you have in the West. So we've had this conversation before. In America, sisters say they want a man, he gotta make 6 figures, he gotta do this. I ain't going 50-50 with no man, but Fannie Willis does. That's another story. I gotta have a man that makes 6 figures. Y'all go to Africa and you get with these dudes, and this is none of my business, you know, to each his own, to each his own. Y'all getting brothers, especially in the Gambia, who don't even have running water.
I had to bring that all the way back home because it's true. I've seen so many ladies when it comes to an African man because he's younger in shape, you know, all that, you know, flies out the window about I can do better by myself when it comes to possibly getting your cheeks clapped by a young man being a warrior. And let's say that does happen. Booty clapping sounds. I'm gonna be honest. We know as sisters coming from the Western world, as a brother from the African American community, I know that if I can't take care of you, I'm gonna hear your mouth. I probably gonna hear your mouth anyway because sisters like to talk in America. Not trying to be mean, but we know how y'all do. And you know what? If I had an African-American wife in Uganda, I would understand it. That's just how y'all are. But if you have a man that you're dealing with, he's younger and he's broke and he's poor, and you start talking about the fact that he's lazy and you tired of dealing with him, and you know, you feel like he need to do something with his life, that can turn physically violent or possessive, because in his mind, he's not looking at it the way that you're looking at it. Because see, you're supposed to be submissive to him no matter what. Even if you do have the money, he's still a man and you shouldn't be talking to him like that or being disrespectful to him like that. And that's why Anja Africa talked about her experience in the Gambia with some of the men, that's not me true for all of them, were possessive like this.
So I'm here today to talk about the domestic violence that is taking place on the continent that no one seems to be talking about. A lot of folks come on talking about relationships and dating on the continent, but there are situations where sisters are coming over here and dating Gambian men and realizing that they're not who they thought they were. Okay, so that representative has left the building. After, I guess, a few days, weeks, they find out that the individual that they're with is possessive, unstable, physically aggressive. These individuals, when they are told they no longer want to see these men, are being abused.
And again, that was her interpretation. I've heard the same thing from Mark Meeks Africa, ladies in Tanzania dealing with African Americans. He said something similar like this.
There are women, older women, who are coming here to look for sex. African men, young African men.
Would you say it's mainly black, white?
I deal with a lot of the sisters. Most of my demographic is African American or diaspora, as we call them. So they're usually melanated people from the respective countries they come from. And so they're coming over here, and a lot of them are, and I'm not putting out, because I don't believe in calling our people out and putting out our dirty laundry, but I will say, because you asked the question, a lot of them expect something that isn't here. And then they wake up to the harsh reality. I've talked to like 7 different people. These are women that came here and married a Tanzanian man or are in a relationship with him, and they're getting beat. They didn't think African men were, they didn't know. They thought that maybe I can come here and control that man, but that's not how it works here. So they get smacked upside their head, and they don't deserve to be hit. They don't. But at the same time, they should have known. Because they didn't know, they're disappointed. And a lot of them leave.
Now let's go back to the point that you're coming from London or Atlanta or Chicago. You're leaving some of the richest black men on average on planet Earth. You're coming to a place, a third world country, right? Now you do have rich men here, but it's like 200 and something thousand rich people in Chicago, and you have a good portion of them that are black, might even be single. We have pensions in America, we have stock options in companies, we have all of those things. If you come to the Gambia, what do you feel like your opportunity is to find a single rich man, heterosexual, that looks good, that's ready to get married to you? Highly unlikely. A lot of those men are already taken. Dinus, go ahead and tell them.
And the reality is like the good Gambian men, the majority of African men, period, who have wealth and resources, they're already taken. They're gone. So the majority of your sisters, when you get to Africa, you getting the leftovers.
They're already taken, and also you're competing with a lot of young African women who might not have as much knowledge or want as much as you do. That's important to understand. You got to understand, you might be a very beautiful lady, a very talented lady. You might know your worth, but we all get that Negro wake-up call when we get to the continent. I thought I knew my worth in the private sector until you get humbled and understand that, well, you're not in America anymore. You got to readjust your worth, and that's what a lot of women do. They end up readjusting their worth, and then they end up taking care of a guy or end up, taken advantage of by a younger guy. And these are guys in America that if you were there, you would not date. All right. I'm not trying to talk bad on anybody. And even Dinus made this point home. He said he asked some local Gambian girls about these guys and would they date him. This is what he said.
Like if I'm in Gambia, wherever country I'm at, I'm like, and I'm talking to the local women, I'm like, would y'all marry a guy like that? They're like, hell no. Hell no. But y'all love them, which again is none of my business.
So apparently, American women and some of the black British women are taking men in the Gambia that even some of the Gambian sisters don't even want, all right? And the men that you would want could be gone. This is why we keep telling y'all that if you can find a brother from the diaspora that you know, no, not nobody that you met, and on your way to Africa that you can build with, that is going to be preferable. If you're coming to the continent, you don't know people, you're putting your trust in people that you don't know, and to have a man that's leading your life and possibly in control of your finances or have anything to do with your finances, that's a pretty big risk. You know, again, in Angie Africa talked about the fact that once you get there, some guys can be looking after you, you know, trying to use you. Not saying this is every guy, but this is the case. And so once you know this is what you're up against or what you could be up against, then we can plan a little bit better. You know what I mean? And again, you're not going to be talking crazy to guys out here. It's just something that you're just not going to do. I'm not going to talk about, you know, you can't be yourself and you can't express yourself. Express yourself in whatever way you feel necessary. But at the same time, you are going to have a hard time dealing with men that make a lot less money than you, and then having a hard time trying to respect that individual when you probably went to college or you were in the military or you've done things, and then you're dealing with a person that you feel like is not on your intellectual level. You might feel that person doesn't have your certain work ethic. You might have that person is not going to be as talented as you in certain ways, because you and that person haven't lived the same life experience, and you probably don't have anything else in common outside of the fact that you like them in the bedroom. And then once that's done, 5 minutes later, you gotta live the rest of your life outside the bedroom. So ladies need to take this in consideration, because then, you know, you get with a guy, you break up with him, or, you know, you don't know what somebody might do. You don't know if somebody's gonna poison you. I'm not saying it can happen, but you just don't know. And if you get sick over there, you die over there, nobody can know why you died or what happened to you or how we can help you. It's important that we can help you. Like, even in Uganda, we have a small community here, but you know, we operate in a particular group. People know each other. We can hang out, and you know, I'm usually tied up, but people know when they come in out of the country, we can keep in contact. You know, we have little events like the Kenganda 5-year anniversary. You might go out to eat, but we know from the person that is the youngest to the person that might be the oldest. We know who these people are, and we want to be in contact with them, and that's what you need as a lady. You know, if you have a guy that you're dating in the community here, you know, he's 30, 35, and you're 60, well, that's something that we need to know. People need to know that you have protection in the community, so this person might think twice about trying something with you. But if you don't have that, you will be tried, and it might not end up well. And again, don't be hella thirsty. I see it too often. Sisters come over here and they see these guys, and you know, you ain't, you know, it's been a while since you maybe had some, and booty clapping sounds, and then now you want to, you know, go ahead on and do that thing and everything like that, and it just might not be worth it for you, boo. We're just trying to help you out. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, Shit Dude Jackson, back at it again with an episode here on the channel. We're out.